the water rose and rose and rose until it stopped at the level you see today, saving only the top 130 feet of Mount Alcatraz, which we get to explore today. This was a military fortress for 79 years before it became a federal prison, which was 29 years of our history. And now here we are, national park site for 46 years. One of my favorite things about giving these talks is I get to talk about the history of women on Alcatraz. And a lot of people might shake their head and say, wait a minute, there was no women on Alcatraz. Well, no woman ever did time here, no woman ever worked in the prison. When the first Army troops arrived, the officers were able to bring their wives and children. So from day one, there were women here. And one of the first things they did was get together to their husbands when they got home that there was going to be some things that were going to need to change rather quickly to make life as good as possible out here. And the first thing they demanded was that dirt be brought out, because there was no dirt on this island. There was no trees, there was no shrubs. These women were embarrassed to have somebody come and visit them. Dirt was brought from Angel Island across the bay, and they started planting all the way along the roadway up to where their houses were going to be. So you're going to see a lot of evidence of what the women did here on Alcatraz as far as the plantings. I mean, it's a green island now. You know, it has the nickname The Rock. But when you look at it now, it's really lush. The original guardhouse is the oldest building on the island, and that's what we're facing right now. This bridge replaces what was a wooden drawbridge. For us Westerners that live out here, grew up in California, drawbridges are not something that we would see very often. You know, if you're from Europe or back east, you would see drawbridges. This is a dry moat, 15-foot deep dry moat. Visitors to Alcatraz would have to wait while the drawbridge was lowered. You can actually see the pulleys from the drawbridge. And the drawbridge would have to be lowered, and then a set of steel doors would have to be swung open. The opposing doors would be closed. Originally built as a schoolhouse for the kids that were growing up out here on Alcatraz. Later it was converted to be the first chapel when they decided to start sending the kids to San Francisco to go to school. Now, how lucky were those kids? Their school bus was a boat. The Army used to frequently use ball and chain and just let their prisoners roam around the island during the day. They have a 30 to 40 pound cannon shot attached to their ankle on a chain, and so they were pretty sure these guys aren't going to jump in the water. You see these funny stairs here? And that is really the name of the steps. It was given many decades ago, puppy steps. The commander had to carry the dog up and down to the boat because the dog was able to go into San Francisco with them on the boat too. They loved taking it. It was a Welsh Corgi. The commander, he tired of carrying that little dog up the hill. The commander's residence is, you just see the roof line up at the top of the hill there. Later to be named the warden's residence. So the commander decided he had a couple hundred men at his disposal. He says, okay, I got a new project for you guys. We need to build a shortcut to my house. I'm tired of walking all the way up the hill with this little dog. There was 30 to 40 other prisoners that helped in one way or the other. The raft that they made was made out of rubber raincoats, donated by other prisoners. You know, some prisoners would come down in the morning down to the exercise yard, you know, wearing a raincoat. And when the lunch bell rang, they'd go back up the stairs. They didn't have a raincoat on, but probably Alan West and Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers all didn't have raincoats on in the morning. And when they went back to their cells, they were wearing raincoats. The guards didn't notice, you know, and many other things were supplied, tools, a drill taken out of a vacuum cleaner. They didn't dig out with a spoon. They drilled pilot holes. They used spoon handles to fracture the concrete. So that's how spoons came into the story with Clint Eastwood. They showed him chewing away at the concrete. You know, and many people believe that. Oh, that's what happened. The concrete got softened by the salt air, right? You know, wrong. Any volunteers? Because I'll give you a box of spoons and a month. We'll see how far you get. Because concrete gets harder with time, not softer. They made their way up to the roof. They managed to remove the air vents from the back of their cells and climb up the plumbing pipes to the roof of the cell block. You know, one of the most spectacular things about the escape is how they got down from the roof. Now, I think you can see some pipes on the corners of the building. Well, the guards weren't smart enough to put some fencing or something around those pipes, so they actually were able to rappel down the pipes.
museum.
Potatoes?
Thank you.